Good afternoon. Good to be back with you. Continue to reflect on the weekend, and proud of our guys and the way that they showed a lot of resiliency throughout that game. Got off to a slow start on defense, but made some adjustments and got some really key stops and key takeaways that I thought were really game-changing. The fumble recovery by Alan Stallings was probably the game-changing play that really flipped the script and felt like we could have had a third takeaway, even a fourth one when the ball was loose, but two were big for sure. And then offense continues to do a good job of scoring points and controlling the football and moving the ball. Didn't have any 3-and-outs, which is a big deal. That's really keeps you on the field and keeps the chains moving, keeps field position being flipped. And third down efficiency was really high, especially on third and long. 4 out of 8 is excellent. And so I think those are big deals. And just being able to be on the field to finish the game those last 3 minutes and having them burn their 3 timeouts and not having to give the ball back was a lot less stressful for us on the sideline, but also it's how you want to do it, to be able to take a knee there at the end. But just other than a couple penalties that I thought were really bad and inexcusable and selfish, and address those today and will be the rest of the week. But other than that, felt like that the guys just really competed hard and stayed with us, stayed together, game of momentum. Felt like at halftime, we go in and score, but that was before we threw the pick. I was hoping to go in and score, take the lead, and then get the ball in the third quarter and hopefully take the game over. That didn't happen. It's just amazing how quickly the game can change, and they get the tip ball pick, go down and score, and then they take the momentum into half. And so really kind of changed how that felt. But just, halftime, we've been doing a really good job, I think, of adjusting. Tribute to our staff and our philosophy as we go in there, and we're going to adjust. We're going to believe, we're going to fight, we're going to finish. And that's how we approach halftime. And our guys have really bought into that and come out and played well in the second half and finished out the game in a tough environment, very historic place, and for a lot of reasons. Big win for us, as we've said before, but it's a chance to reflect on it. Really proud of our kids and the way Peyton played. He's got some recognized for some national awards for that, and just his character and leadership and production when needed has been impressive. So really proud of him. And offensive line, same thing, where they've stayed together and been able to just get the job done each and every week and run the ball when we need to, and that's been a great thing. And then the timely takeaways and special teams have been very solid. We had 3 punts inside the 10, which I thought were huge, and we worked extremely hard on that. And Raheem Lane was a guy that, I give the LEO award. You may not know this, but we have an LEO stick that we have every game. That the guys, it's a stick about this tall. It's just a 2x4 painted, and has LEO on one side and the one word for the year on the other, which is grit. And I give that award every morning before the game. We have, once we do our special teams pop-up meeting, then I give it out, and it's always a big deal, and who's going to get it, and I talk about this person before I say who it is, and I specifically mentioned in that talk, and I gave Raheem Lane was our award winner for this game, and I talked about his special teams play and how every time we have staff meetings, his name just keeps getting brought up about, hey, on this unit he does this and he does this, and he's always coming in extra and watching film. He's always doing this. He's always trying to find a way to help. It's an unselfish type of mindset that he has, and because obviously special teams are important, but when you're a defensive guy, that's really kind of where a lot of guys focuses on. But he's bought into what we're really trying to create here, which is a true team mindset, and LEO is the foundation of all that. So that's how so I specifically talked about him and special teams, and then he goes out in the game and he's the one that downs the ball inside the 5 and had some really big special teams plays, and it was just like, so we talked about this morning, just reinforces everything that we're teaching and preaching here about what makes us play winning football, and how do you win these kind of games? How do you go on the road and play at a place you haven't won at in 60 years and find a way to win? When momentum was for you, it was against you. Things happen. We didn't play perfect, make mistakes, do some things you don't want to be doing, and then you find a way to win the game. So those are just all the things you just try and keep reinforcing with our guys. But really excited about this week. Got the defending Big Ten West champion Northwestern Wildcats coming to town, and really big opportunity for us. Really excited about our team being able to continue to stay locked in and focused and play at a high level. And everything we do is about who we're playing next, which that won't change. And really encourage our fans and our student body to come out and support us and do everything we can to help create a great environment and pack this stadium and be able to be, as I said before, playing the first November night game here in Memorial Stadium in our history. So exciting time for our program, and I'm really proud of our guys, but we got a lot of work to do. Questions?
Forgive kind of a blunt one to start, but the way Peyton has played the last couple of weeks, does it make you reevaluate any kind of the way you handle the quarterback position, especially as Mike has kind of picked up some of these niggling injuries, and you probably think about kind of his short-term sort of gain versus long-term health?
Well, first of all, Mike's our starter, and Peyton's done a phenomenal job. But, if Mike can't go, Peyton's going to go, and as we all know, Peyton will do a great job, so you feel great about that. But that's kind of the approach I have with that position, and that's why we've communicated that. But I have absolute confidence in Peyton Ramsey. And so we don't know exactly yet what this week will hold, or who will be the starter, but whoever it is will be ready, and they'll play well. And so that's all I do know.
Hi, a short little answer and then my real question is, do you think your quarterback thing will be a game time decision, or do you expect to announce something before?
Not sure yet. We'll know more from a physical perspective as the week unfolds. It could be Thursday decision, could be game time. Would be one of those two I would expect by Thursday or Friday or Saturday.
And then the longer question is, or hopefully the longer answer, is Peyton's toughness physical but also mental? Just I have to assume, not putting words in your mouth, but I have to assume he's kind of got a high level of physical and mental toughness to overcome what he's overcome and just be as ready as he's been. Sure. And all that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think there are two parts to it. They're both probably the key ingredients to being a great football player at this level and a great football team is to have mental and physical toughness. I think his mental toughness has been displayed through the way he's handled the adversity of being not named the starter, stay in the course, choosing to stay here at Indiana, and then not just choosing to stay, but to choosing to be locked in, and that to me is really the testament. Step one is a big deal because it doesn't happen as much anymore, unfortunately, but in the second part of it, that he chose to be locked in every single day takes unbelievable mental toughness, just grit, fight, character. You just think about all that you got to do to be ready. Because our offense is not, super simple. No one's really is. And so there's a lot of things you have to do to get ready to play. And to do that and with no guarantee that you're going to play, I've done this a long time. Not many guys can do that. Especially at this age. I get it. NFL backups got to do that all the time, but that's a whole different world, different age group. That is their full-time job. I get all that. But for a college-age kid that's going to class and all these other things, and all these people, I'm sure, saying things to him about what he should or shouldn't be doing or whatever, and he chooses to absolutely do everything within his power to be ready to play, and then goes out there and does it. And like I said, especially in the Maryland game when it wasn't expected. Obviously this week then there was a chance. We didn't know all the way to the end, but it was a little different. But still, it doesn't matter. That guy is just rock steady. Then the physical part, he took a shot to the sternum that was a physical, hard hit, and he was hurting, but he completed the pass and just kept on going, and he took another shot later. And I tell you what, when we went through, and I show clips of, I try to teach our team in this whole process of teaching us how to win. This is, I've done this several times, and they don't do it every single game, but we've done it several times, the last several for sure, especially as things gets close and we get to this, got our conference play, and we saw signs that we did after the Michigan State game, and did after the Maryland game, did after this game, and just show clips of how do you play winning football here? How do we truly create the breakthrough that we wanted so desperately? And so part of it was showing these clips, and one of the clips I showed today was him taking those shots and just coming back, and the toughness the physical toughness that it takes to play this game that he shows out on that field. And Wop, I could say the same thing. That guy got hit a ton of times hard and just kept coming back. But Peyton, yes, he's mentally tough. He's physically tough. The film shows that. His performance, demonstrates that. And, it's big reason why he's the player that he is.
Tom, there was a video of you kind of just, celebrating with all the fans as you ran off the field after the game on Saturday. Kind of what's going through your head as you get that 6th win and finally get over that hump for you as a head coach?
Well, most of that's pretty reactionary. It's not really like planned. I'm not going to go over and celebrate with the fans and everything. So, but I got done doing all the stuff I do on the field and interview and talk to some family but just just the emotion of a lot of stuff just kind of comes over you, and I just see our fans there, and that's kind of even like the infamous trash can episode, not pre-planned. They catch my eye, and the students were still here. I just go running over there. It's kind of the same thing. I turn around and go to jog off the field, and as you guys know that we're there, as you jog off to the locker room, our fans were all there to the right, and so you go right past them. They're all still there, and actually I missed the team singing to them, because I was doing the TV interview stuff, and so. But I just want to thank them, and obviously yelling, and I don't even know what I said, but just to thank them, for coming there and supporting us. I mean, it's got this little small contingent, and amidst all those umpteen thousands of people, it's pretty cool, And I just want to be just genuinely thank them for coming and cheering us on and believing in us and being there for us. A lot of our parents and all that. So it's pretty cool. It's a neat time. So that's just kind of a high-fiving them and having fun, because this is a tough job and it's hard work and stressful. Don't get a lot of sleep sometimes, but those moments are pretty special, so I'm going to enjoy them.
Tom, I know you like to work out and practice in the mornings, but you're having a night game this week. Will you do any work at night with these guys? Or at the
it's a great question. The answer is no. We do that in fall camp. We try to get ready. It's kind of been unique. We usually have a night game or two before this time of year, but we have not. So we're going to do some things during the day different than we do, because that's a long time period, because we are a morning practice team, and the kids, our players' schedules are all set that way, so it's hard to do anything in the evening. So that's why we won't be able to do that. But we've been under the lights. We did that by design in fall camp to catch and punts and everything. So I feel good about that. It's more the schedule part of it, and we have a good flow that we have already preset for a night game, but we're going to do some things. Had talked about it even in the off season about preparing for a night game, expected that we'd have a couple by now, but have not. So we will do things a little bit different the day of than normal. But when the lights come on, it's like playing in the daytime.
Could you update us on Simon did not play on Saturday, and Thomas Allen kind of gutting it out?
Yeah, both those guys. Simon, I think he's going to be fine. He had some things late in the week that I didn't know about, and just kind of came up on him, and he wasn't feeling good at all on game day. And it kind of came down to, hey, when in doubt, we said, hey, if you don't feel like you can go, and he's tougher than nails, and love that guy and everything. So that was really a last minute situation. But I tell you what, and once again, I mean, McKenzie steps in there and didn't miss a beat. I mean, that was a big deal, So I guess, but Simon should be fine. Don't think it's anything long term at all. And but it just that's why you got to keep recruiting, keep developing them. And then Thomas, he's done for the season. So really breaks my heart. And he came back from an injury this past off season and worked his tail off to get back, and it's his other shoulder, so it is what it is. He's having surgery next week, and very serious injury. And he went down twice during the game. It popped out twice, and the second time it was for good. And they were concerned then that it was pretty serious, but then the MRI confirmed it on Sunday morning. So pretty serious for him, but awesome young man, obviously. I know his mom well, and he's my son, so it's pretty personal. But I hate it for him. But it's like everybody else, it's just part of life, and sometimes it's not fair. Things happen like this, but he'll be back a year from now. So, yeah, we got to. James Miller is going to be next man up at that spot. And after we hugged and got emotional a little bit, I grabbed Thomas. I said, your job is to get James ready to play. And James has obviously been right there with him and played quite a bit, but his role is going to go way up. So he knows that's his. Just like I gave Coy the same charge to get Matt ready, I gave Thomas the same charge to get James ready. So that's what great teammates do.
Coach, you talked about Wop after the game as being kind of like the leader of the band, and he was saying that his leadership style used to just be yelling at people. I mean, how much have you seen?
Pretty accurate.
Yeah. How much have you seen him just evolve in terms of how he talks to his teammates and leads?
Yeah, I think that it is a growth process we go through, and you're obviously going to lead per your personality. And his, we talked about several of our guys in the past have had, are quiet guys and they don't speak. Well, he's not in that group, so it would be speak first and think second, and so that oftentimes causes some issues. So, but he was on the leadership council, and so it was training him how to use that energy. It's still not a final product yet, but I do know this. I do know that one reason why I believe we got him here and he came to Indiana was because his mother believed that this was the best place for him to be developed as a man, and just really to help him in his character and his leadership and his growth as a young man into becoming a man, and knowing that he would just be taught those things, not just run around catch passes. And so that's my responsibility, and I take that on when I take on players, or your parents' sons, and bring them into our program and help. That's why I don't know. I had him by right there the whole friend. He didn't necessarily want to be talking to me right then after he got that penalty, but I was not going to let him walk away until I got the response that I thought I needed and that he needed, and we trusted him to put him back in there, because I felt like that he was ready to do that. But at the same time, yeah, he's got all that energy, and yelling at everybody, it just doesn't always, it's not always productive, and so, but he just needs to continue to grow and develop, and he will, and he has, and he's really made a lot of progress, but, it's hasn't stopped. So I will continue to hit, and Coach Hurd's right there with us and right there with me and a lot of other coaches, and Dr. Ray plays a role in all that, and in the psyche of our guys and helping them learn how to channel all that in the right direction and make it productive.
Yeah, I know you touched on the uncertainty at the quarterback position, how difficult it is for the quarterbacks to prepare. What about kind of the offensive coordinator aspect, and what does it say about Kalen that the offense has kind of remained productive through this?
Well, you go through, and like I said, the obvious things that he has to deal with are, the fact that one's right-handed, one's left-handed. That's something that affects things. So from a play calling perspective, and even certain things that we do and don't do with each, but do have a similar skill set. But Kalen has to adapt. He adapts to because it's not even just necessarily pure plays. If a guy's a passer or a runner, and obviously those guys can both do both, but it's what does each guy do best? And so him figuring that out, knowing what are the strengths of what routes does this guy throw better than this guy, and mash that up with the game plan. And so, yeah, that's where it gets a little more complicated, especially when you don't know, a lot of these have been situations where obviously the one was an in-game adjustment and change. And then sometimes it's, like it was last week, it was through the week, so you're practicing and Michael practiced and different things. And so, and then trying to get, the dynamic too of getting Jack ready to be, because if Michael doesn't go, then Jack's got to be ready to be the number 2. And we had him warming up a couple times, Saturday because of the couple hits that Peyton took that we already talked about. So there's a lot of variables that play into that Kalen has to manage, and he's done a great job with that and continues to, just come up with a great plan each week that gives our guys a chance. They got to execute it, but it gives us a chance to score points and win football games.
Tom, you won't have to spend this next month obsessing and getting caught up in the conversation about this 6th win now that you've taken care of that. How can that bring a little more of a focus or a little different mentality to your team for November?
It's actually a very good feeling, because I've not been here when that hasn't been the conversation. It's been even year one when I was not the head coach. It came down to the final game. And year one for head coach is obviously same thing year 2. And so it feels great to kind of have that off the table. And now we can just go back to the business of getting better every single week and trying to win our next football game. So yeah, I just think it's a great thing to have, out of the way, and just being very blunt and honest with you about that. And I think that's, we didn't dwell on, I'm being very sincere, we've not had a ton of conversations about bowl games and 6 wins, and we just did not. And so it was really process driven. I know the guys recognized, they knew when we won the game that we were, bowl eligible, and, but that was never the goal, was just to get to 6, and, then, okay, we got it, So, but our guys do understand that, but it is a great relief in some ways to get that out of the way, and now it's just 100% full bore focus on Northwestern, and it'll be the same way when we get back from the bye.
This kind of plays off Kevin's question, actually, but how has just Kalen made Peyton an overall better quarterback? What about his offense has helped Peyton grow, and also just the coaching at the position?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, the thing that Kalen does really, really well is to be able to, from a schematic and structural perspective, really maximizes the whatever we're seeing, and empowers these guys. And I sit in a lot of those meetings, and you go through, and the quarterbacks are talking things through, and some of the things they have to make adjustments on the field with, and audibles and checks and all, and some things that he's able to control himself, And so, to me, that's really where, when he's controlling, he does a great job of teaching them what to look for so they can, do it themselves. And that's where both those two guys, Peyton and Michael, they do a great job of just, quick decision making to be able to figure out where it is the ball needs to go. And then obviously, Kalen sets all that up, but some of those are, like I said, are more driven by him at times, and sometimes they're driven by the players. And so I just think that he has a very great way of teaching the progression, and it's multiple yet simple to our guys. And I think that's the key to me, is you got to be able to present things different ways, and you can keep your concepts the same, but to the defense, because of the way we line up or how we shift or motion or whatever, we get to it different ways. So that, I think, it really creates a lot of confidence for, I think I said that even when I first, when people ask, well, hey, how's it going to be different, and that's the kind of thing that really kind of stuck out to me. It's kind of the way that we try to do things on defense in the system that we have, is that, to our guys, you get multiplicity, or to the opponent, but to our guys, it's conceptually driven, so you can just transfer concepts from this to this, and so I think that helps those guys. I think it's helped Peyton be more successful, and I think just confidence, and you fire that ball down the field, and you get the ball out quick, and the rest of the part, I think, is him just being him. He's gritty and tough, and he escapes and gets first downs when we need him, and with his legs, and to be able to be accurate and get the ball in those tight windows at times. But I think just to be able to sometimes create more explosive plays that aren't necessarily just bombs down the field. That's kind of the thing. That's what you think of as an explosive. Well, that's not always the case. It's getting that ball put in the right spot so the receiver can get pulled to be open or to run away from the defender. And I think that's where I've seen Peyton get better at. And so, but because to me, he's always been a really good, solid player that's been able to do a lot of really good things and be very, very accurate. So, but to me, that's where we're able to create that. And I think Kalen's brought that to our system and to our program, and the players have bought into it, and they're executing at a high level right now.
And Coach, you're an Indiana guy with a sense of history about this program. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the unveiling of the statue of George Taliaferro and just kind of what he's meant to this program.
Well, special man, and my one regret, as I said, when he passed, was I never really got to know him as well as I wished I had, and he was obviously older, but the time that we did get together was just such a genuine person that it's hard for me to imagine what he went through when he came here, and then yet the way he handled it all with such grace and class and almost just a forgiveness that, not everybody has, and just the way he talked about it to our players, and just the way he communicated, was just such a, just a graceful, classy guy, that was a guy that forged the way for our current players, that are African Americans. So it's just, to have that kind of personality, amidst all the negativity that situation created is pretty pretty special, and so then that's just allowed him to elevate, because as time passes and he continues to talk, and it's just able to really empower others to be able, hey, this is how you handle, some tough things in life, and obviously that's he's been just a huge part of our history, and that's why I didn't, from being here, I didn't really fully understand until I was hired here, how special he truly was, from the outside, from my perspective. And so I think it was just so neat to get to know him and then study more about him. And I appreciate him, and then it's just, you're going to have a statue of him out here that's going to be unveiled. And boy, it's a special thing, and just to be able to look back and see how it's changed. And we're not perfect with all that yet and got to be better. But obviously he was one of the key individuals that, helped us be where we are today, so we get a chance to have a statue for him. That's pretty cool. That's neat for his family.
Northwestern's had a pretty brutal schedule here. What's kind of led to that record, and what's dangerous about them?
Well, first of all, do not be deceived by the record, and all I did was go through and point out to our staff, you just look who they've played. You look at the defenses that they've played and how good they are, and the teams that they've played. And, even a year ago, they won a bunch of close games, and so then they lost some close games here, and then things happen, and then you get into situations where, you lose a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And so to me, very dangerous football team. They're the defending West champions in our conference, and got a ton of respect for their head coach. And one of the guys that ever since I came to this league has always just, taken time to encourage, to challenge, to help. I mean, he's a guy I can text and ask questions to, and he's one of the guys I've always kind of confided in, things like that, and, for a variety of things. And he's just genuine, he's tough, and he's just done a phenomenal job building that program. I mean, absolute, complete respect for Pat Fitzgerald and what he's done at Northwestern and how they play. And they're so physical and tough, and they have a great staff. They've been together for 14 years. I mean, it's just, it's a lot, so ton of respect for them. To me, you just throw out the record. It doesn't matter. They're coming, and they're going to play their very best football, and we better play ours. That's all I got to say. And we're going to be at our very, very best, and it's going to be a physical football game, and it's going to be a 60-minute, tough, hard-nosed Big Ten football game. So that's my perspective on them. And they got one of the best defenses in the country, and their front seven is a bunch of grown men. I'll tell you that much. And very, very aggressive in the secondary as far as tackling and physical, and big offensive linemen, and backs run hard, and the receivers are quick, catch the football, and they've had some quarterback challenges, and that's been an issue, and that's a key position, and they had a guy that was pretty steady there for a long time, did a phenomenal job for him, and led them last year, and so that's been, a question mark for them. So, but at the same time, absolute respect from our end is at a high level, and we know we're preparing to play a very good football team.
You're kind of rolling, obviously, this weekend and the next bye. There have been a lot of freshmen that we've seen play kind of all season, guys like Taiwan and Sampson and so forth. But, I mean, do you have a sense for maybe some guys that we haven't seen a lot of that maybe you'll pull into the fold kind of for that stretch run, those last 3 games, plus now obviously the bowl?
Yes, Gary Cooper kind of comes to mind for me. He's a guy that we'd love to be able to, he had an early injury in fall camp, and so we'd love to be able to get him here and use his 4 games here in the last part of the season. So he's one that kind of jumps out, and I'd say there's several other guys too. The ones that haven't played, at this stage of the game, it's kind of pretty clear who we've just said, hey, these guys are playing. They've already played their 4. But the ones that haven't played their 4 yet, you really would not like to burn anybody's red shirt at this point, with more than 4, unless something just, happens that we don't expect. But so if a guy has not played his 4 up to this point, we're going to strategically make sure that we balance it out the rest of the year between these last few games and the bowl game to maximize their experience as freshmen. So that's kind of how we're going to approach that.
Just going back to Hayden Whitehead, I know there was one, obviously the 3 punts that went inside the 10, but the one set up a 35-yard drive pretty much after your defensive stop. I mean, how much does special teams get overlooked, and how much do you really feel like those punts kind of tip the balance for you guys in a way?
They're huge. I mean, we went through, and like I told you, we had 11 clips today in the team meeting that we used to show how do you play winning football, and one of those was the very punt you just mentioned, and so he punts it. They actually fair caught it at the 8-yard line, and we got a 3-and-out on defense. They punt it. It comes off the side of his foot. We get the ball at the 35, go in and score. So huge. I mean, it's field position, it's momentum, it's play calling. When you're backed up like that, it just makes it hard for the offense and defense. Their goal is make them punt from down there and just keep the field position, and offense just trying to get a first down. That's your first goal, and then obviously you build from there. So I just think that our kickers are huge, and Hayden continues to do a great job for us, and that's part of winning football, is having specialists that can do those kind of things, and the kickoffs, and even the thing like to point out, you talk about special teams, the heads-up play that Bryant Fitzgerald has on the ball near the sideline, just to know the rules, to know that how I can maximize that rule, because the ball is real close to being out of bounds, and if part of you's out of bounds and you touch the ball, once you secure yourself out of bounds, it counts as an out of bounds kick, which gives us the ball at the 35-yard line, which is, once again, that's another free first down that our offense just got, And so, but just knowing that, instead of getting the ball and then, stepping out of bounds and the ball's down right there at the 10, which that's happened in the past, So just being able to, that's winning football right there. And it's little things like that in special teams. There's a lot of variance in situations in special teams, a lot of field space involved, a lot of field position involved, and being able to execute in those situations allows you to win football games, especially on the road. Great. Have a great day. Elio.